Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, we are talking about life mastery, but more importantly, we're talking about eliminating the roadblocks that most, if not, let's be real, all of us have come across at some point in our entrepreneurial journey. And we have a very special guest with us to do that. Mark Collins, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. I'm excited to be here.
So I love, I pulled up your website over here and I'm looking at it. It says, are you ready to destroy fear, imposter syndrome, and stress? Is there any better topic to talk about on a podcast episode than destroying those three things?
No, absolutely. It's definitely something that I needed to destroy in my own life. So I'm excited to share it with others as well.
Talk to me about that, because I love how entrepreneurs are usually in business to help other people avoid the same thing that they went through a lot of times. And it sounds like that's your story. So where did that story begin?
Yeah, I've always been an entrepreneur, and the thing I thought when I became successful in business was that, I tell people this, I thought I could succeed fear away or succeed imposter syndrome away. And what I found out was, maybe like some of the people that are listening and watching as well, is that it actually just came along for the ride. The only difference was when I was, at the top of the game and successful, when I reached the mountaintop of the thing I was trying to succeed at, the outcome of failure, the outcome of negative events in the economy or with our business had a higher level of impact. So the stress actually increased the more I was successful. And so for me, it was really starting to figure out, really, how do I be able to do that? How do I have the success, the initiative, the desire, the impact that I want to, but not have to deal with these things in the background, not have to wake up at 3:00 in the morning because of some negative financial downturn or some business decision that has a huge impact that, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And so in finding out that I could unpack it in my own life and have what I call a kind of transformational journey of not having who I believe I am, the identity that I have, be some result of my outcomes. Now, all of a sudden, I actually was able to not just have higher level business decisions and success and excitement in the things that I was doing, but I didn't have those 3:00 in the morning moments when I was waking up stressed out as what the next day was going to have for me.
Yeah, talk to me about that too, because I've come across a number of people, clients included, who have had those 3 a.m. moments. I'm just as guilty of having them too. As I was growing my one of my first businesses, I'm curious what it was for you. Did it start to come, or did it start to be, I guess, exaggerated when you had employees? Was it financially based? Like what was the real cause, the root cause of it for you?
Well, that's a great question, Brandon, because I think there's two things. There's what's expanding it, exacerbating it, right? Which is the lives that are in the breach, the not just financial incomes for my own life, but the employees that are a part of it, and the people that are relying on you for your decisions and your understanding, your wisdom. But then there's the core of it, which is something that's totally different, and that's where I unpack it with some of the people I work with. It's understanding that really where it's coming from is that it's an identity statement. So for us, we start to unpack everything apart from your business. And I tell them this: you are who you are apart from your success or even your failures in business. The problem is we don't realize that. We are so tied to the things that we're doing, whether it's our entrepreneurial journey or the artistic endeavor that we're in, that now all of a sudden I am my outcomes, right? So I need to have success. And those people who are doing it, because it's not just the 3 a.m. in the morning people. It's what I call those hamster wheel of success people. And I was one of them. Which means that your success, right? Whether it's that amazing business deal or this transaction you did that you've been waiting for, it's going to really turn your business around. And the joy from it lasts about 10 minutes. And then you need the next one. And then you need the next one after that. A lot of times in business, those that are type A people, or even just people who are looking to succeed in life, we really equate our identity with what we do. And in that place, it's not just the outcomes, but it's that stress that comes along with it. so that we can't really enjoy it. We can't really have fun with it. We can't really even dream in the big ways that we desire to, because anything beyond what I can, that measured increase that I can control comes with a level of stress that we don't want to deal with. So for us, it really is kind of unpacking some of that thing and saying, hey, who are you apart from your outcomes? Who are you apart from your success? And really for us, some of the things are, who are you apart from your past? Because we've had that track record, right? The business that I talked about that we were successful in, well, that was the fifth one, which means the first four were those trial and error businesses where you're kind of learning how to do it along the way, but they weren't successful. They didn't have a positive financial outcome. Well, those memories, those ideas, I tell people this, you're living from who you're created to be or what your life has told you. And some of what our life has told us is those past failures that are informing our present circumstances and in our minds at 3 o'clock in the morning telling us what our future is going to be. When we can kind of unravel some of those and really start to separate ourselves from our past as well as our success, we can start to see that we can really kind of initiate what I call that hero in hiding, that person you're created to be. So you're not trying to measure up to a level of income or a level of success to prove who you are, but you're living from who you've been created to be, and your success is even better.
Yeah, it's like a drug, right? I mean, you said you get it and you want more of it 10 minutes later. And then I've seen people where it's like, oh, I made my first $1 million in business, but that dude has a jet. And it's like, can't you celebrate that for more than like 5 seconds? But it's so true. And we get stuck in that trap over and over. I'll tell you what, I'm done with it. I put that mindset in the past. I'm no longer am I comparing to other people. I know what our mission is as a company, and we're chasing that, but it's not relative to anybody else. So how do you get people to disconnect from that? You are what you produce, or you are what your job title is, this success mindset. It's not even a success mindset. It's coupling yourself to success. You said it way better than I did, but that's why you're the guest, not me. So how do you get people to disassociate with what they produce as their identity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great. And I love what you talked about for yourself, because it is a lot what we do. It's really impact versus income, right? Mm. It's living from who you're created to be, having the impact that you're created for, versus having some tangible goals so that you're trying to outpace somebody else, or you're trying to out earn somebody that is your model for what success looks like. And so for us, it really is starting to understand that. So what are we trying to do? Are we trying to succeed with somebody else's idea of what success looks like? Are you trying to say, what's the impact that I'm created for? What's the maximum level of life that I'm created to live? And it's in all areas. It's vocationally, it's relationally, it's physically, right? It's financially, and figuring that out. And in that place, how can I become that person that I'm created to be, to live that level? It's what I call the life mastery life. For us, life mastery, the definition is living from who you're created to be at the highest level you're created for in every area of your life. When I start to unpack that and understand that, when I start to live from that place of identity, okay, well, who am I? What's the impact I'm supposed to have? Then all of a sudden, I'm not using somebody else as my understanding of this is what success looks like. I'm saying, what's that level of life? What's that level of business success? What's that level of impact we're supposed to have? And then you start to have the authentic goal that you shoot for, not a substitute from somebody else's idea of what success looks like.
I'm curious. I'm quite positive we can't do this in the next 5 minutes, but when people are approaching you, I would assume a lot of times when you ask them that question, what's your ultimate purpose, or something along those lines, even they say, I don't know. They're in a place in their life where it's not very clear. A lot of it is probably fuzzy. So can you give us a sample of maybe an exercise that you've taken people through in one area, to the degree that you can? But I'm just curious how you get people over that first initial, I don't know who I am.
Yeah, that's where everybody starts, right? Well, I believe, and I tell people this joke. I say, yeah, I love that question, because it really is who you are. I tell people this joke. I say that my wife doesn't allow me to get a tattoo, but if I did, it would say this: identity is everything. Because what I see with entrepreneurs, which I found in my own life as well, and high level achievers in the C-suite or what have you, is that we believe we are our title, our role in those things that we do. And we don't say it, right? We understand that, I'm more than my job, my title, my business. We say that until there's a negative downturn, or until the economy makes it so that maybe I lose my job, or I have to exit the company, or what have you, right? And then all of a sudden, now all of a sudden there's some things that are going on. And so what I tell the folks that I work with very quickly is this: identity is everything. It's your character, right? Your character is your calling. It's the thing that makes you you. And so for us, it's really saying, okay, so who are you apart from your outcomes? And it doesn't mean that you don't have high level goals and achievements that you desire in your life. The challenge is to make sure that they're coming from who you're created to be. They're not telling you who you're created to be. And so it starts with you, not with your outcomes, and saying, okay, well, who is this person apart from my successes and my failures? The person from my past or my future, but who is this guy looking back in the mirror? Your character, your value, your worth, your integrity, right? Your passions, the things that you make you. So we start to unpack that and we start to write it down, because a vision that you don't see is a vision you won't hit. And so in that place, we have what we call an I am statement, and it is unpacking those things. You apart from your success and apart from your past, who is this guy looking back at me? And in that place, now I start to see what's the impact I'm having in the C-suite, in my business, in this role I have in this job. I start to see the part of me that I get to give to that. And then the next question is, okay, so you understand who you're created to be. What is the highest level that you're created for? We all have vision boards or, these visualizations that we want to do, and none of those are bad. But again, they should all start from the place of, I believe my impact in business is this, right? I'm going to be a change maker in this area with this product or with this service. It's going to be worldwide, or it's going to have this impact, or it's going to meet this need for these groups of people. And it really is, how are you being lived out in those places? And then you create the associated teams and things around there. And so you start with the target of me lived out, the impact that I'm created for, and then the outcomes coming from that. So in that place, whether my business succeeds or fails, again, number 5 was amazing. The first 4 were a learning experience. None of them tell me who I am. So none of them are a thing that I bring into the next experience telling me, okay, well, you need to not do that again. Well, you need to not dream that high. You need to not think that big. And in that place, you start to see that it's you unleashed. And those 3 o'clock in the morning internal conversations saying this is going to fail and it's going to be my fault and it's going to be horrible. Now, all of a sudden, when I'm living from that place of understanding impact and living it out, I'm not worried about negative outcomes, because negative outcomes are just learning experiences, not an identity statement.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how a lot of times we get so tied to what we're doing. And then you look at the most elite, high level entrepreneurs in the world, and they're launching 10 startups at a time. And we're like, how can I manage this one business? Look over here. They're managing 12, because they have a different belief system. I actually saw a video this morning of, I forget his name now, the founder of Uber, Travis something. I know his last name starts with a K. Anyway, it was a presentation he was giving when he was launching Uber. He had like 12 other companies on the screen that he was more excited about than Uber. And I don't know any of them today except for Uber. And it's interesting because it's like those weren't failures for him. And he whether they failed or succeeded, I don't think he was tied to any of them. He definitely wasn't tied to Uber. Yeah. And here we are today. This is a globally recognized brand. It's never made a profit. That's its side note for a different story. But anyway, it's made him a lot of money. But why, how do we get so disconnected from results and just get so focused on learning or leveling up in our own lives? Does that take time and going through practices like this, or is that maybe mindset like 201? Is it next level mindset?
No, I think you're right. Because I think, so I have a book, Life Mastery, Living Life by Design, Not by Default. And I named it specifically because many times we are living by default, and it's not any harm or foul, but it's the playbook that we're given. So for even entrepreneurs, I have so many people I work with who are successful, and in that success, they get to the mountaintop and they're like, well, is this it? First off, the thrill and the high that I thought I was going to have, the life that I thought I was going to be in, and the person I thought I was going to believe myself to be didn't show up. I'm just successful. I still have fear of failure. I still have imposter syndrome. I remember there was a conversation with a 9-figure entrepreneur, and he said this. He said, even today when I have these big business deals, fear of failure comes in. And he said this thing that just drove me crazy. He said, I guess it's just part of the cost of business, cost of success. And what drives me crazy is it's really that life by default, believing that these things are things that I just have to manage to become a successful person. When I dream big, stress comes, fear comes, and all of these things happen. And what it is it's living by default, which is interesting. And I find it fascinating because we're so amazing in our businesses many times. right? If I have an accounting issue or I have a production issue, man, I'm going to master this thing. I'm going to find a way of overcoming it so that we can really move forward with the progress that we're doing in our business. But when it comes to our personal lives, even entrepreneurs at a high level will manage things that they actually have the ability to master if they would only have the tools to do it. It's that default mechanism that says, well, this stuff I can master, but me, I just need to manage. And what I try to do is give people a different mindset of understanding. No, there's a life by design, just like in your business. There's ways for you to master your emotions, the input you have, the identity that you believe, and the thoughts that you use that allow you to actually become fully fulfilled in your life, not just successful.
Yeah, I mean, I find that fascinating because as we speak, I have an 8-figure deal on the table and I'm totally at peace. And it's interesting because if I look back, a couple of years ago, I would have panicked. Like I would have been in complete chaos. My life would have been a disaster. I would have been stressed, probably would have had 4 heart attacks at this point. But now I'm just like, I know everything's going to be fine either way. I know personally who I was created to be. Side note, I've read the Bible a couple times. It's really helpful with finding out who you're created to be. That's my personal belief. But, I really am at peace. And when you say you talk to a 9-figure entrepreneur who says it's the cost of doing business, that's got to be one of the most difficult mindsets to break, that it's just a cost of doing business or a cost of doing something. Raising kids is hard. Being married is hard. I mean, you hear all these things that people say, and your words make it true. Like if you say that, jokingly or not, it's going to come true. How do you get people to change their language and their perception so that they can actually have a better, more fulfilled life?
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, I am a person of faith as well. So that person you're created to be with me starts with my faith walk. So if you have that conversation, and if we have that, that same likeness in our life, then that conversation is a little bit easier because I can point to chapter and verse that will help you to understand there's actually a playbook for living out that is got the results that you're so eloquently talking about, Brandon. But in that place, I think part of it is this understanding that there actually is a way to have that outcome, to have the peace that you desire to have in your life. First off, that it's even a possibility. Many times it's not even taught, especially in high level circles, right? It's the secret that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
It's this, we all talk about our net worth. We all talk about our business transactions, but not everybody talks about those 3:00 in the morning times, those mental gymnastics you're doing right at the moment of trying to have a big transaction. Nobody else is in on that conversation. It's just you and you fighting back and forth, the fear and the worry that is coming along with it.
And those are the worst 2 people to have in any conversation, by the way. You need at least a third party.
No, exactly. So much of it is this aha moment of understanding, so there is a different way, right? Default versus design. Again, I'm a person of faith, so that design for me comes from a creator. But in either case, the tools work whether you know the author or not. And those tools really start with understanding who you are. For us, it's that I am statement. Secondarily, it's mastering your thoughts, right? Again, design or default. We don't realize that our thoughts aren't something to manage, but something we can master. And in that place, when I start to use a mindset, affirmations, and things that are talking about those empowering things about me and the income and the outcomes that I desire, I start to see them happen in my life. I tell people this, right? You are the sum total of your thoughts. So what are your thoughts saying about you? I know what you're trying to say about your business and the things that you're doing, but what are you saying about you first? Are you the answer to the room you're walking into, or are you the question to be figured out? What we're trying to do is give people a mindset so they understand you're the answer walking in, like you, Brandon. I love what you're talking about with your business. In that 8-figure deal, you already know that you're the answer walking in, that the solutions will happen when you walk in the room. You're not worried about challenges that come up because you already have the answer walking into it. Many times we don't know that. Many times we don't believe that. And many times we're stressed because of that.
I so love this conversation. And I hope in 19 short minutes, we were able to help people get over fear, imposter syndrome, and stress. But probably not. I'm sure there's a lot more work to do. Luckily, however, you can contact Mark and you can figure out what this means in your life and help yourself get over all the things we talked about, really, and get to that next level in your business growth. So Mark, this was fantastic. First of all, thank you for being here. I'm going to put your website on the screen, but where should people go to learn more about you, learn more about your book, and help get to that next level in their life?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking, Brandon. It is my website. I try and be a one-stop shop to make it easy for everyone. So freedom-for-life.net if you want to reach out to me there. You can do so. The course is there, of course, if you want to get a fully robust course for transformation in your life. I also have an ebook version of the book, so you can have it on any device you want. That's on my website as well. And if you want to reach out to me directly, you can reach out at Mark, M-A-R-K, at freedom-for-life.net.
I love it. All of that, wherever you're watching or listening, will be down in the show notes below. So make sure you go grab those links. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Brandon. It's been a great conversation.
We'll see you on tomorrow's episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Thanks for watching or listening. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Harmonious at Lunch podcast. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and we want to invite you to join us in the Small Business Success Facebook group, our private group where guests and listeners come together to grow your business. We want impact-driven entrepreneurs who are ready to go to the next level in this group so we can all share ideas, collaborate, and grow our businesses together. Go to whatif.com/group, and we want to invite you to join today. See you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.